So I'm quite nervous now since it is the first time for me to speak in front of many people in church. So I'm hoping that God will guide my speech today. As you know, in 2 days, we will be returning to Korea after a year of living in the United States. So looking back on the past year, the whole year has been a blessing for both me and my family. So I would like to share some of the changes and the wonders that I have experienced during my time in the US in three main dimensions. So the key verse for today is Proverb 69. Next slide, please. Yeah, we can make our plans, but the Lord determines our steps. So the first dimension is the personal dimension. Can you go to the next slide? Yes. So when I look back on my life, I remember that God has given me many accomplishments and joys. And while I have thanked God for each accomplishment in my life, I think my attitude was the same as the Israelis when they left the land of Egypt. So it is written in Deuteronomy 8. So shall we read these together? So 12. When you eat and are satisfied, when you build fine houses and settle down, and when your herds and flocks grow large, and your silver and gold increase, and all you have is multiplied, then your heart will become proud, and you will forget the Lord your God, who brought you out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery. He led you through the vast and dreadful wilderness, that thirsty and waterless land, with its venomous snakes and scorpions. He brought you water out of hard rock. He gave you manna to eat in the wilderness, something your ancestors had never known, to humble and test you, so that in the end it might go well with you. You may say to yourself, my power and the strength of my hands have produced the wealth for me. But remember the Lord your God, for it is He who gives you the ability to produce wealth, and so confirms His covenant, which He swore to your ancestors as it is today. So that is when things went according to my plan. I got into college and passed the bar exam and became a judge. I was proud of myself for working hard to achieve my goals. But I didn't always get everything I wanted. Sometimes the opportunities I wanted didn't fall into my lap. And when that happened, I complained that my plans didn't work out, felt disappointed, doubted my own qualities, and most of all, wondered why God didn't give me what I wanted. Doesn't this sound like the Israelis who complained and forgot about the grace of God bringing them out of Egypt? I also had big plans when I came to Stanford Law School. I wanted to write a really great paper that would take advantage of all the knowledge I'd learned here. I took my crying daughter to preschool and studied hard every day while trying to heal my broken heart. Again, opportunities came and went, and while there were joys and disappointments along the way, I learned many important lessons from each experience. Even though things didn't go according to my plan, when I look back a little later, I realized that the option I didn't like was actually the better option most of the time. After experiencing this many times, I had a clearer sense of God's control over the direction of my life. Sometimes His plans aligned with mine, sometimes they didn't, but He always had a plan for what was the best for me that my human mind and greed could not possibly know. This realization made my life much more peaceful. It didn't change my daily routine, but it gave me the peace of mind to try to do my best in each moment and leave the outcome to God's plan. I was able to change my life from one of stress and tension for future to one of steady effort and gratitude every day. And the next dimension is family dimension, the value of care. One of the biggest changes since coming to the US is the tremendous amount of times I spent with my family. As my husband and I shared the responsibility of cooking, laundry, housekeeping, and childcare, our lives became super busy, and this led to more arguments, and it was hard to see the worst in each other that we hadn't seen in our busy Korean lives. But it also made me realize some things. I always thought of myself as a caregiver, someone who took care of my daughter. But when I came to the US, I realized that I was not only a caregiver, but a tremendous care receiver. In order to do my job, I absolutely needed someone to take care of Diane, and my husband gave me time by dropping her off and playing with her every day while I was drowning in my dissertation. And like this picture, he made over 20 trips to Great America with her all by himself. And not only that, but he did all the things that took time and stamina, like grocery shopping and fixing the broken car. If there are any achievements of mine here, they are all due to the care of my husband and Dine, who gave me time and patience. Thanks to my husband, who perfectly planned over 10 long distance trips, my American life is not only filled with the pain of studying and writing papers, but also with beautiful memories of our trips. I think it was love, finally, those impossible hours of care that allowed me to go on stage. I thank God for letting me know the joy of care and love between family members. And finally, the third dimension is the faith dimension, the value of community and the joy of co-parenting. The most surprising thing that happened was on the faith side. When we came to the US, we didn't look for a church right away, but we used to worship online. Then we met a family by chance. We were having lunch together, and the subject of church came up. And we came to Jesus Love Church for the first time in December with a light-hearted intention of visiting. And from that time, my family fell deeply in love with this church. I have been going to church since I was very young, but I had been in a neither hot nor cold state for a long time. God's love and Jesus' grace were like air to me, so natural, but not overwhelming. Marrying an unbeliever prolonged that numb naturalness, but there was still a thirst for God that I felt all the time. I wanted Diane to grow up knowing God, and I tried to show her God's love by reading the children's Bible at home and attending online Sunday school services with her, but I couldn't do it alone. As I struggled with this dilemma, the church I found in the US was a true gift to our family. This church introduced me to the joy of fellowship in the community, and it also gave me the amazing experience of raising children together and watching them grow. Through Bible study and fellowship with the church, my husband opened his heart and eventually was baptized along with Dine. As in this picture, the day Dine and my husband were baptized, which was July 30th, was probably the day our family life in the US blossomed the most. I believe this was also part of God's plan, since there is no coincidence from the God's perspective. So to wrap up the speech, today I get to explore more of this chapel. I want to share my gratitude and already deepening longing for the delicious lunches we shared, for the Sunday school with Dine, for the fellowship, for the friendly smiles and greetings, and for all the warmth you had for all of us. Wherever we are connected in the Lord, so we'll see each other again, right? But still, with the inevitable human longing, we say our final goodbyes. Thank you so much for everything you did for me. Thank you.